I think it's also involving Paul, which this tweet also is.
Oh,
So
sweet.
fancy that.
Fancy that. This is not an announcement. This is just a tweet.
So Apologia tweeted out, Jesus could have raised from the dead, and one can't establish that via the minimal facts argumentation. Both could be true at the same time. He's just simply pointing out that, like, even if Jesus raised from the dead, the minimal facts argument doesn't actually establish that as a historic fact.
So I hate the minimal facts argument, not because I think it's powerful, but because when you ask a career historian if the minimal facts argument would fly for anything involving history whatsoever for their degree, they would look at you funny.
Yeah.
We don't use the minimal facts argument in actual history, so why would we make a special exception for a miracle functionally?
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's you read ahead. I didn't read out Wendall's tweet yet. He said, doubters hate the minimal facts argument because it's so powerful. Like, no, he's literally pointing out that, like, even if he grants everything that Gary is claiming at the end of the minimal facts argument, the minimal facts argument itself still doesn't get you there because it's not powerful. But, yeah. So that's not a bad one as far as Wendall takes goes. But, do you remember a bit of Orange?
I do remember a bit of Orange. Yeah. I miss him. He was funny.
Oh, so I found him on Twitter. I was completely oblivious to the fact that he still exists and he's still active on Twitter. And one of the first things I saw when I clicked on his profile to see what sorts of things he's doing was he was retweeting an account called Women Deserve Less. And the pinned tweet for Women Deserve Less is, I don't want to show it on stream because that would violate YouTube's terms of services for sure. I don't know how it's not been taken down from Twitter. Oh, I know how. It's because Elon Musk is running the site into the ground. But yeah, I don't even feel comfortable describing it.
Speaking of describing, I did get a question in my chat. Can you, from Dragonite 43, can you explain the minimal facts argument, as not everybody knows what that means?
Sure, good point. So minimal facts argument is Gary Habermas's baby. He basically says there are these 6 things about the life of Jesus, or life and death and resurrection of Jesus, that all historians, or the majority of historians, including secular ones, agree on. And it'll be things like Jesus died of crucifixion. Jesus was buried in a tomb. The disciples had experiences that they interpreted as being the risen Jesus. These experiences were powerful enough that they changed their lives. And, like, it's stuff like that.
The last ones are the origin of the Christian faith had to come from somewhere, so why not Christus? If memory serves.
Yeah, it's all trivial stuff that, like, if I grant every single one of those things, it does not actually point to a resurrection, but Gary thinks it does. And he's just written a, like, 4,000 page tome explaining why he thinks it does. And Paul has been reading through it, and I hope, I'm sure he's working on a video. He says he's working on a book now too that he expects to finish in 20 years or so.
20?
Yeah.
Why does it take you 20?
Because he doesn't have the resources that Gary had to just sit down and work 70 hours a week on nothing but your book.
You know, that's fair. That's entirely fair.
Yeah, sorry. Mark Fernkoff is saying the tomb burial is no longer considered one of his minimal facts. That's another aspect of this that is kind of funny to me, is that if you look up video of Gary from the 90s talking about the minimal facts argument, he's got 12 facts that he talks about. And then as time goes on, that list gradually dwindled down. He usually does 6 now. And yeah, the empty tomb is not there. It's just that Jesus died, because it turns out that there's actually no evidence that Jesus was put in a tomb at all.
Yeah, we don't have evidence of an empty tomb.
We don't have evidence of it. We don't have evidence of a full tomb to begin with. Like, he probably was just thrown in a mass grave.
Yeah. So what we have here is minimal facts that are also minimally considered goalposts.
Yeah.
Just happen to change.
Sacker is asking if the Shroud of Turin was part of those minimal facts. I don't believe it was ever part of the minimal facts. Because Shroud of Turin is
the shroud is a controversial piece of cloth, even amongst like very religious Christian societies.
Yeah, there are a lot of like hardcore evangelical Christian scholar type people like Gary Habermas that don't take the Shroud of Turin seriously, and for good reason, because it doesn't deserve to be taken seriously. Anyway,
I like how every time we've analyzed the damn thing, it shows that it's a more recent forgery than the actual resurrection, and yet every time we do, somebody goes, no, we have to analyze it again, and they just won't let us.
Well, yeah, my favorite is the answer to the carbon dating thing, where it's like, oh, well, it carbon dated to the 1400s, which is right around the time when this weaving pattern was developed that it was weaved with. And they ignore the weaving pattern thing, but they will say that, oh, the reason it's carbon dated to that is because the little bit of cloth that they took for the carbon dating, that must have been from when they repaired the shroud in the 1400s. That was a bit of cloth from the repair. That wasn't the original.
Mm-hmm. Are we now ship of Theseusing the Shroud of Turin?
Oh yeah, for sure. Fennec is saying, what was the weaving pattern? I don't know. It might not even be weaving. I just know there was something about the pattern as to how the fibers of the thing were put together was a style that was not invented until like the 1400s. Okay.
I'm actually curious, when was the loam invented?
The loom?
Because now I need to know.
I don't know. Anyway, Carol Mack says, I was in elementary school in the 70s. My experience, did not know one autistic child. No one had a gluten allergy. No one had peanut allergies. No one had milk allergies. No one was bouncing off the walls from ADD or ADHD. No one had autoimmune diseases at that age. No inhalers on the playground. Anyone else?
So, each and every one of these are incorrect or have some other kind of explanation. If we're talking about
You mean like how the inhalers didn't get their patent until like 1981, so of course they weren't on the playground in the 70s?
Yeah, they wouldn't have been on the playground in the 70s because they didn't exist. But also, kids were bouncing off the walls with ADD or ADHD. They just were categorized differently by the DSM-3.
They were just called disruptive kids.
Yeah, they were just called disruptive kids then. Now we actually know, because we have the ability to do brain scans, we can actually tell when something is different. When we image somebody's brain, we're like, oh, this brain with autism looks different than this neurotypical brain. That's weird. I wonder why that is. You didn't know one autistic child? Well, guess what? You know more autistic people because the internet has brought more people together. You know what autistic people tended to do before the internet? They stayed in their house and they stayed in their shell. Now they have an avenue to safely talk with other people while still being in the comfort of their own home. So of course you're going to see more of them now. Yeah. Duh. Well, nobody had a gluten allergy? You didn't know what the fuck gluten was back then.
Well, so like the milk allergy, like being lactose intolerant, the majority of the human population has always been lactose intolerant. Lactose tolerance is a mutation that didn't arrive until like 10,000 years ago and mostly exists in like European and Western, like typically countries that are thought of as Western nations. The majority of the world is lactose intolerant and was in the 70s. You didn't see them because you were part of a culture that most people didn't have lactose intolerance. And those that did probably didn't talk about it. They just didn't drink milk. And you never asked them about it.
Yeah, it wasn't. So like now that we live in the age of social media where people not only put more of their lives on the internet where people can see it, but the stuff people do put on the internet is expected to be there forever. For some stupid reason, I don't understand why that is even a thing that we still think about, because we didn't worry about if things said in the public discourse were there for tens of billions of years before, but now suddenly it's important. Things that people say are in there forever, which means the more people who are autistic or have gluten allergies talk about these things, the more data points there are for you to see. You know what your data points were back in the 70s? Your neighbors to your right and your left.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like I have more friends that I have never met than friends that I have met. Because of the internet. It brings people together from distant lands.
I've only been able to meet a lot of my friends who I know from the internet because of conventions. Things like Faithless Forum, where I got to meet Paul and Shannon and GE and everybody, or like various gaming conventions where I've been able to hang out with the Sunset City cast. Like, these are people who would have existed only as internet friends had I not had those opportunities.
Actually, speaking of which, I just remembered I did an experiment on Twitter where one of my videos was it was the Lady Ballers one. That was
the dislike experiment.
Yeah. So that was my most disliked video on the channel. And when I started, it had let me took a screenshot. I'm not going to share it, but I can at least look at it so I can tell you what numbers I'm working with. Okay,
Jesus
so when I began my experiment, it had 90 likes and 40 dislikes. That's 69% likes. Nice. And so then I posted like this is my lowest like to dislike ratio on the channel. So since it's already trashed, may as well do an experiment. I've heard that disliking a video still gives it a little boost in the algorithm. So I posted on Twitter and be like, okay, everybody, I want you to go and dislike this video. You don't have to watch it. You just dislike it. And a bunch of people did. It is now sitting at 222 dislikes on 113 likes. So now it's 33.7% is the ratio. And so that's, what are we at? 222? Calculator, 222 minus 40. I should be able to do that in my head. It's 182. So we've gotten 182 dislikes. And if I go to my analytics, since I posted the experiment, I've gotten 831 more views. Now, I know there are going to be some people that saw my post and clicked on it and then didn't, like, they neither liked nor disliked it. But I don't get a whole lot of engagement on my Twitter posts or my text posts on YouTube or whatever. So I feel like this actually was, like, this successfully shows that it's a boost in from the algorithm, rather than just the people that clicked on it. So yeah, successful experiment. Also,
well,
it was kind of a bit of a trick for like my regular channel for me to have an excuse to like promote my other channel, be like, hey, go click on it. And then while you're there,
yeah, see if we can get it to 20% dislikes. Like 20, like there's 20% likes and 80% dislikes.
God damn it. Okay, I will. Hello. Stop.
Hello.
And welcome to my channel. Welcome to the watering hole. Okay, I am posting the link to that video in the chats. Everybody go dislike it.
I'm off to Club Bed featuring DJ Pillow and MC Blanky.
Nice. All right. Unbroken says, no, there's not a single documented case of homosexuality outside the human race. Also, what? I don't know any straight couples who have anal sex. Sounds pretty rare. I've never met any girl who asked for or even wanted anal sex.
I've met at least 5.
My partner kind of giggled and grinned at me when she heard me read that, so draw from that whatever conclusions you desire.
Unsheath thy sword.
She also got me a book for Christmas that was entirely about queer animals and homosexuality in nature, and how it actually goes deeper than just like I've talked about giraffes before, and how the observations with giraffes suggest that it's not necessarily that giraffes are homosexual. It's just that they spend most of their time separated by sex, and when they get horny, they don't care whether it's a male or female. It's not that they're homosexual or heterosexual. It's that they're apathetic towards sexuality. I don't know. They don't care. If something's there, they'll fuck it.
When I was a kid, my neighbor's dog jumped the fence and got into our yard. Our neighbor's dog was an old man dog, like 13, 14 years old. Our boxer was also a male dog, lived to the ripe old age of like 4. Bone cancer got him eventually. It was very sad. As a kid, I got to watch from the backyard window my male dog having his way with the other male dog, and then looking to my mom and going, he's gay. Is our dog gay, Mom? I don't understand.
Yeah, no. And actually, it's funny because a lot of researchers over the years have they've kind of used euphemisms to hide the fact that this is like like when penguins actually do like homosexual pair bonding and look after eggs and shit together.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like use euphemisms to try and like basically the equivalent of being like, oh yeah, those two guys that live together, they are roommates. They are very good friends.
They were
roommates. Basically the scientific equivalent of that. Oh, LFR said, where's the link? I posted it earlier. I will post it again.
Fennec says, I know several asses ass.
Yeah.
Look,
Oop, no,
we have the phrase, any hole's a goal for a reason.
Any hole's a goal. Yeah, sure. Okay, I have pinned the message on YouTube. I'm not on my Twitch at the moment, so I can't pin it there, so fuck y'all. That chat's not going fast enough for you to lose track of it anyway.
Unbroken says, I don't know any straight couples who have anal sex. Sounds pretty rare. We only need a few documented cases of straight couples having anal sex on good old Pornhub.com, and you'll know plenty.
Well, I mean, also, there's like, I don't know any straight couples who have anal sex. I don't know any straight couples who discuss having anal sex with me.
Yeah, you just...
So, like, whether they do it or not, they're not telling me about it.
Did you hear yesterday when I was giving my partner a proper shagging, they bent over and spread? Like, no, you don't fucking do that with most people.
And I decided it was best to toss that salad a bit before going in.
She asked where my ranch was, and I obliged.
Yeah, no, that's just not conversations people have. Taking it back to our earlier discussion about my oversharing being good for society, this is why I talk about it. It's not because I overshare, it's because I am selfless in my quest to better society.
You are trying to benefit society as much as you possibly can.
I don't do it for me, I do it for you.
In your ass.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Speaking of ass, Eric Hoven.
Go back to Pensacola, Eric. Anyway.
He says, telling someone the punishment of sin and the way to escape it is hardly a convert or else tactic. It's more of a get out of the road, a truck is coming tactic. Frustrating how some people keep it twisted and misunderstand.
No.
So the way I replied to this is that it's like saying get out of the way, a truck is coming, but you're also driving the truck and you have plenty of time to brake and you could swerve around the person rather than just yell at them and hope they get out of your way. And God is the truck driver. So like, now if God's the one driving the truck and he has the ability to stop the truck before it hits you, then saying get out of the way or a truck's going to hit you comes across very differently than if it's like a third party who
because
has
the
no
truck
control
is
over it.
Trying to hit you at that point.
Yeah. So yeah, it is exactly convert or else.
Convert or get isekai'd.
I don't know what that means. Do I want to know what that means?
I know. I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed at all. Okay, so isekai is a term for any show that takes place in another world. Usually the beginning of an isekai show or an anime is a character dies and then wakes up in another world. The joke usually is, oh, the main character got hit by a truck.
Also,
now they're in another world.
Literally the opening to the Bobaverse.
Yes, also the opening to Wizard of Oz.
Also, what is it? That comic by Neil Gaiman, about like the city below or whatever it is. I forget what it's called. It's really good.
Yeah, anything where our main character is a fish out of water in another world, like a new one that is separate from our world or a contemporary one, that's an isekai.
Okay,
just
maybe,
so happens
maybe the Bobaverse doesn't quite fit that, despite fitting the trope at the beginning. Oh, yeah. No, kind of. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm gonna throw a funny one to my audience to have them.
Monorail saying the Austin Powers driving a steamroller scene.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw a funny one at my audience to have them fight over whether or not this is true. Yu Yu Hakusho starts out as an isekai.
I don't know what that means.
And then becomes not one. Beginning of Yu Yu Hakusho, the main character gets killed by a truck.
Okay, yeah, fine, fine. I'll grant you that. I could have gathered that from the context.
And then he goes to the spirit world where he's told, "Oh,
Fennec, I did just sip.
He's told that he can get his body back. He can go back to reality. However, he has to go do a bunch of good deeds, if in and for the spirit world, to earn the right to get his body back. He ends up not doing enough, and he would have gotten completely consumed by fire. But still, Yu Yu Hakusho is a good show. But I will die on the hill that it begins as an isekai and then becomes a not isekai. Because eventually he does make it to the real world and the show properly starts.
Okay, sorry, I'm the Austin Powers steamroller thing. I'm stealing that joke and posting it to Twitter right now as we speak.
Wyvern says, I'm going to say no because he gets his body back. That's why it says it starts out as an isekai, and then it becomes not that. He was in another world for a little bit. And he did kind of go back to it, like, multiple times. But anyway, you guys fight over that one. That's a free one. Also, Nixie-chan, thank you for gifting out 3 months of Tier 1. Let's just call it a quarter isekai. It's a 5th isekai. There's definitely a 5th arc in that anime somewhere.
All right. Case Orbs.
Ah, okay, cool. I couldn't escape him.
Trump will infringe on rights if reelected. Weird. I don't remember the right calling for the unvaccinated to be sent to camps.
When did we say the unvaccinated need to be sent to camps? When did we do that?
I recall something that the right interpreted as being that. It was probably just a quarantine-related thing. I don't really remember that well. But there was something COVID-related where it's like if you don't have a vaccine, you have to like wait 2 weeks before you can interact with people that might die if you have the deadly disease. So it was like one of those perfectly reasonable things where like you could just get a vaccine and you're fine.
But no, I don't want you to stick a needle in me because I'm really scared of things being put inside me.
That's what I did the first week of the trucker protest when like because they were in my town because I'm a border town. No, I'm not a border town. I'm in a border town. And as I was driving around wondering what the fuck was going on, I realized it was like the anti-vax trucker convoy thing. I didn't know that it was a full convoy at the time. It was just like driving around and like, why are these guys protesting here for vaccine stuff? At one point I was like rolling down my window being like, why are you scared of needles? And then they were just like confused, like, it's just a needle. Just get the needle. It's fine.
I'm scared of words I can't pronounce.
Needle.
That's not how you spell immunocompromise.
But yeah, also like every law is technically an infringement of rights. Every single one. Like you could say like, oh, the law not to murder, that's infringing on my rights to do what I want with my gun.
It's because the concept of laws is to try to find a balance between your freedom and your safety.
Exactly.
That's the point of them. That is why they are there.
Yeah. And but Trump has actually explicitly said, I'm going to be a dictator. Yeah, he tried to make it sound like he was just joking, but like every other time he's done something like that and everybody said, oh, he's just joking, he ended up just doing the thing that he said he was just joking about. So, like, why should we assume that he's just joking here?
Yeah, it's... What's that phrase? Believe them when they tell you who they are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when Trump comes out and says, I'm going to be a dictator, let's believe him when he says that, especially since he's already started an attempted coup. Like,
Yeah.
we already have the evidence. It's very obvious that what he wants to do. Like, he wants to be president so he can get out of his legal troubles, and he will use the office to try and protect himself as much as possible and enrich himself as much as possible. That's all he wants to do.
So Trump came out. Congratulations.
Yeah. The Real World Los Angeles says, newsflash, clothing is not a basic need. You can survive just fine without clothes.
No, you cannot. If you are homeless and in winter, those clothes are the barrier between you and freezing the fuck to death.
Yeah, no, I took the screenshot. This was tweeted out while we were in the middle of a nasty snowstorm, and it was getting down to like -13. It was like, yeah, -13 isn't like the end of the world. Like, yeah, I'm going to be uncomfortable if I have to be outside for an extended period of time, but if I'm in, like, my bundled up Canadian clothes, I'll be fine. But, like, I wouldn't want to be naked out in -13, and
no,
it wouldn't take long to die at all.
Yeah, that's kill you weather. Anything at freezing is kill you weather at exposure. I'm sorry, but I like how their name is The Real World, but obviously they've never interacted with the real world.
Also, they're in Los Angeles, a place known for its very moderate, temperate weather that is, like, beautiful all year long. So, like, maybe they're just thinking of the weather that they're familiar with?
Yeah, maybe.
Adam Broughton says, I'm in suburban Ottawa and I still see people supporting the truckers to this day. They'll probably be reinvigorated with the recent court ruling. Yeah, no, we still get them down here every now and then. And usually it's like 1 or 2 trucks, and we'll look and be like, oh yeah, those people still exist. And then we go on with our lives. It's pathetic.
Look, they just want to talk about their freedoms to they are not really sure how to articulate it, but they'll honk their horns.
Oh, there's the hydrate.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Well, that was the last drop of water in my bottle, so
I guess now you have to resort to alcohol.
That's not near me right now. What? Read your comment. Which, Twitch or YouTube? Take it from another perspective. Women are constantly victim shamed based on what they wear. They were asking for it. What happens when we wear no clothes? Yeah. There you go.
Look at what she wasn't wearing. She must have been cold.
Yeah.
That's like that's about as far as you can get with that one.
I mean, like, that's accurate. Like, they're already saying, look at what she was wearing. It's like, now this guy's saying you're not entitled to clothes. So if you end up naked outside, is that going to also be a look what she was wearing situation? Oh, she was naked. She clearly wanted it. No, you said that we're not entitled to clothes.
Yeah, so just go out without clothes. Obviously, it's okay.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how to pronounce this, so I choose to call it ICOC 49274. Says, you said that there are a lot of dissent people going to hell with Hitler. I think they mean decent, because that's what I said. I didn't say dissent people.
But they dissented down to hell.
Yeah. Reply. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans 3, verse 23. There are no dissent people, only sinners who need to atone for their sin. Hope this helps.
No, it doesn't, ICOC. But you can suck an ICOC.
Like, they really just, like, straight up said, you're as bad as Hitler. Hope this helps. Like, what?
I'm sorry, how many Jews did I kill? Give me a second to contemplate. Oh, yeah, 0. Yeah. All right, cool. Looks like it's like that one Matt Dillahunty bit where he goes and says, I can write a more moral book than the Bible. It's the Bible without the rape.
Yeah. Travis Edrington says, will you and Lily ever resume the Bible through a child's eyes? I don't think so. It's not looking like our life is going to settle down to a stage where we will have time to do that. like finding time to record that would be difficult right now, and then I would also have to edit it. And yeah, I'm only now just starting to catch up from falling behind in like October. So I don't foresee that coming back anytime soon, which is unfortunate because it was fun. I enjoyed doing that with her.
Hi, girl. Why is it always around this time, Growlith? How do you have an alarm set in your brain for this?
Is it food time?
It's go outside and potty time. I guess she's wired for 10 p.m. Wednesday is the time every time to go.
Fennec says iCock sounds like a weird Apple device.
Try the iCock, also known as the Ona hole.
Well, that was the last tweet, so you can go let your dog pee.
Growlith, do you want to... Oh, you still have your harness on from today when you tripped me. Let me take this harness off of you, hon.
Oh, poor Growlith.
She's had to wear a harness that has been fitted for her for more than the amount of time we would spend at the square. Okay, here you go, Growly. I've taken it off of you. You're not leaving. That means you really want to go potty. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, even though you didn't feel like it. If it makes you feel better, I didn't feel like it either tonight.
Well, I'm glad to know.
All right, so
that you wanted to spend that time with me too. Gosh.
My God,
Fritz just said poor dog drug his ass down the hill.
I guess I can't not insult my guests because, like, last week John got all annoyed because I was like, "He's discount Suris. He's my sub this week."
Jesus,
but that's just
I feel
who
bad
I am.
for GE.
No, it was fun. We had a good time.
I'm sure he's certainly gotten tired of going, "Hey, Suris, check out this deck I made," and I'm like, "But why do you have this land in there? I think that's a bad land to have in your deck." All right, I'm gonna go let Growlith out.
Okay, so God help you, 'cause I sure can't.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Blitzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie Chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.